think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
What's wrong with this temperament?
Well, you look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like a, frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. You're never going to get things done that way. Look.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, is that Trump going mainstream? Joining us now on the panel is C. Edmund Wright, columnist for Breitbart.com, an American thinker, author of WTF, How Karl Rove and the Establishment Lost Again, and Jane Velez-Mitchell, founder of JaneUnchained.com and author of Addict Nation. All right, let's start with you, C. Edmund. At Breitbart, you've been writing a series of pieces, Rove-Stupid. And in this latest one, you say, WTF, Donald Trump goes full establishment against Cruz, Scalia, and more. There, he's not just knocking Cruz as being a maniac or whatever. He's saying, basically, you're not going to be able to work with Harry Reid that way, and therefore you won't get things done. What is that?
Well, Steve, this goes back to what you and I talked about over 4.5 years ago on your show in New York, radio show, is that Donald Trump is brilliant at tone. He's brilliant at being bold and fearless, and he can do things no one else can do. But when you get down to it, you got that inner liberal inside of him. And here he went full McCain, full McConnell, full Lindsey Graham on Ted Cruz. And what's interesting is that Donald Trump's supporters seem to love the fact that he goes against the establishment. Here he went full establishment against Ted Cruz, and it's going to hurt him.
Yeah, what do you think, Jane? Of course, you're no fan of Trump or the Republicans, but in the head-to-head matchup, that NBC News Wall Street Journal poll just came out today. Hillary loses to Carson, she loses to Rubio and Cruz, but she beats Trump by 10 points.
Well, first, let me say, Donald Trump criticizing Ted Cruz is the pot calling the kettle black. Really? A maniac? Not having the judgment or temperament? Hello, Donald Trump? The man who calls the media scum? The man who says, oh, one woman must have blood coming out of her whatever, and says of another woman, look at that face? The man who has alienated huge swaths of the population, not just Muslims, but Latinos and blacks and Asians and women and people with disabilities and gays. I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out. And he has the audacity to call a guy who likes to filibuster lacking in good temperament?
But here's the thing.
Kidding me?
Here's the thing, Edmund. I looked at the Hispanic numbers in the poll that just came out, and even against Hillary, Trump pulls in just about the same number of Hispanics as Romney did.
Yeah, a couple of things there. First of all, there's a lot of Hispanics who really actually want to be tough on illegal immigration. So the idea that it's a 100% voting bloc or even anything like the African-American voting bloc is just not correct. That never plays out. The second thing is polls at this point don't mean that much nationally. They certainly don't mean that much head-to-head in these hypothetical matchups. They're getting a little more predictive as we get closer, but really, who knows? Say Cruz wins Iowa and Trump comes in maybe a distant second. Who knows what will happen to the national polls in the other states after that, let alone the general election.
Right, and Jane, if you look at the previous two Republican caucuses in Iowa, you got Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee who won, but certainly didn't go on to become the nominee. So is too much emphasis being placed on Iowa, where, by the way, Ted Cruz, who's getting trounced in the latest Monmouth national poll, 41-14 by Trump, is leading Trump in Iowa?
I agree. There's way too much emphasis placed on these early primaries and caucuses. They don't represent the people of the United States. A new New York Times CBS News poll shows 2/3 of Americans are concerned or frightened over the prospect of a Trump presidency, for example. That's the vast majority of people we're talking about here. I think all of this back and forth and clashes in the Republican field is really an illustration of the weakness in the Republican field. I mean, who's their establishment candidate? Jeb Bush? Nobody's even talking about him anymore.
But you know what, C. Edmund? That same poll also shows considerable fright at the prospect of a Hillary Clinton as president.
Yeah, I actually agreed with some of what Jane said there, and then toward the end, I think we parted ways a little bit. again, until it's Cruz versus Hillary or Trump versus Hillary or whoever versus Hillary, and they actually go at each other, these other things are just kind of hypotheticals. But I got to tell you, a lot of Trump supporters say his electability is what makes him attractive, and they're going to have to come up with something to explain these comparisons.
Right. Guys, I appreciate it. Jane and C. Edmund, thank you both very much. Folks, Give Me 5 is next, and you're not going to want to miss this. But first, remember, tune in tomorrow night for Newsmax TV's special coverage of the Republican presidential debate beginning at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. I will be co-hosting with my colleague J.D. Hayworth. That all starts tomorrow after the debate at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll get analysis that you won't find anywhere else, and it's only right here on Newsmax Television.